Head over to the brand new FriendoShop.com and get your latest Friendo merchandise. While you're there, use code FRIENDOFRIDAY to get 20% off. And don't forget to pick up Don't Interrupt the Game t-shirt right now. FriendoShop.com. Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Yeah, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. Of course, we tape it live at the YouTube and at the Twitch. What's up, everybody watching live? Hello, hello, hello.
Hi, everybody.
On this episode of Going Around, of course, we're going to be talking about the show that we're kind of named after a little bit, Raw, Monday Night Raw. Before we do that, though, we've got also some news about William Regal. But before we get into that, want to bring this up this coming Saturday. ACW Action Coast Wrestling together. Sacramento, California, the first show of the Steve and Larson era. That's right, we are owners of a wrestling promotion. The show is booked. Big announcements just this week. Cal Jack, you guys wanted it, you guys get it. We have to save up our pennies to bring Simon Miller in because that's the other name that people want to see, the H title.
Yes.
It's been like 2 years since it's been defended. At some point, we might have to just say, hey, Simon, can you send us that title back? And then when we get the opportunity, you can fight for it again. But I think ACW
I think it was August 2019. I think it's been 3 years.
Wow, that's a long time. But, obviously, look, we were lucky to have Simon Miller as the H champ.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure that at some point in the future, we'll be able to get him into Action Coast Wrestling to defend that title. But that's for another day. This Saturday, we've got Action Now, Action Coast Wrestling. Cal Jack's coming in. Alpha Zoe, the champion of ACW, who, by the way, has been making a name for himself up and down the West Coast. Is our champion, and he will be defending that title, unfortunately, due to circumstances outside of our control. His original opponent, Christina Von Eerie, is not able to make the show, so we have selected an opponent for Alpha Zoe, but we're not going to tell you who it is now. We're going to make you wait.
Yes.
That's right. So anyways, live professional wrestling this Saturday.
Yes, this Saturday.
Wrestling. Yeah.
Sacramento, California. If you're in the area, come on out, check out the show. If you're not, still have time to travel.
Yeah.
Still have time to hop on a plane, get in your car, take a boat, hovercraft.
Oh, boat, yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Some sort of three-wheel automobile.
A tricycle, yes. It might take a little bit longer.
A Gilson lawnmower. How about
There we
that?
go.
Yeah, there you go. If you still have one of those. So, yeah, that's going down this weekend. Should be a lot of fun. Enforcer's going to be there as well. I mean, to be honest, we should make a little graphics as Enforcer's going to be there, too.
Totally. I actually was going to suggest that yesterday.
Oh, man, that's a good one. So, anyways, before we get into our Raw recap, let's talk about this. So, during yesterday's show, of course, Larson, we talked about William Regal's departure from AEW and what might have led to it, including comments from former NXT talent EC3, claimed that Regal regretted signing with AEW due to a maturity issue with management and talent not listening to Regal's advice. Well, follow up on that today. SC Scoops. You think they're related to Scoops.net? Remember Scoops.net, Larson?
I remember Scoops. That was my go-to wrestling news site back in
that was our place,
1998,
man. That was the thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Val Venus joining DX.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hardy Boys
joining DX.
Yeah.
DDP joining the Wolfpack.
Yeah.
Anyway, none of that shit happened. I mean, that was the wrestling news now of the day. Anyways, so SC Scoops has a report in which AEW sources dispute Ethan Carter III's claims, with one calling them, quote, completely inaccurate, while another called it, quote, complete bullshit. That same source elaborated further, stating, there was never some schedule you had to be down at the ring and people blew it off, and Regal was never going to flat tell someone they had to come to the ring so he could coach them. Regal would work with someone, people would go down and show up, and a lot of people took advantage of it. Other vets do it all the time. It's always the younger women and men. Sometimes someone would work with someone one-on-one. Other times there could be quite a few people down. It was totally informal. Another source told SE Scoops, quote, Regal would even sit in the stands with guys to talk about the fans' point of view or the point of view of watching on TV. He would tell you about making sure to know how you're looking to fans as you come to the ring or how you would look on TV. He said to make sure you're always really nice to the camera guys, the ones who are making you look good. So let's pause there really quick. I actually don't see anything in this that disputes what EC3 said. Now, I don't know necessarily that. Look, I understand that EC3 might have his own agenda, as does everybody, as does clearly these people who are trying to refute that. But even Brian Pillman Jr. had said Regal and Danielson would just go down to the ring, people would gather, and he'd give them advice. There was nothing in there, I believe, that said it was some mandatory thing that Regal demanded of people. If I'm not, am I right about that?
Yeah, you're right. No account of any of this made it sound like there was scheduled, organized, essentially training sessions before shows with William Regal.
Yeah.
It all seems like impromptu, hey, if you can make it, come on down. If not, not a deal. I think your recollection of things is accurate, yes.
And so, look, I understand if perhaps some in AEW who want to, protect the reputation of the company they work in, they want to sort of fight back against what could be considered, some other agenda. I mean, I think somebody had even said in the same report, I think it was this report, saying, EC3 is just mad that he wasn't signed by AEW. So this is a typical thing where, there's two sides to every story. Well, there's three sides to every story, and then there's the truth. Or side A, side B,
story. Somewhere between there's the truth.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's one of those things where it's probably a mixture of everything. It's like, look, I believe that if Regal really wanted to stay in AEW, he probably would have been able to stay in AEW. And so there was some reason why he didn't decide to stay in AEW. And, he seems like a classy enough guy that he's not going to say anything about it. But he does also have a podcast, and addressing that might be something he does in a diplomatic way, I could see.
It's entirely possible. And there's a narrative that talent in AEW are hesitant or unwilling to listen to advice. And so it's easy to pick up that narrative to explain why, I guess, a number of things would happen. Whether EC3 has any inside knowledge of Regal's thinking as far as why he's leaving, or it's just an assumption that, one of Regal's duties there is likely helping to mentor some of the talent there. Well, if the talent there is not willing to listen, as the story goes, then that must be a reason why Regal is wanting to leave.
Yeah.
We've heard from Billy Gunn, and I think JR and CM Punk that, some talent have been resistant to heeding their advice or taking advice. So if Regal's there, one of Regal's jobs is to teach people, I guess it would be, at least for some, to make that connection.
Yeah.
And there is not listening to advice, therefore Regal must be unhappy because that's part of his job, apparently.
Yeah. And look, we had said this yesterday. If there is talent there that feels that, hey, I made it on my own. I made it doing it my way. I made it doing it in a way that I feel is relevant to today. And I don't have much to learn from a William Regal.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, you can't really blame somebody for not wanting to do that. I mean, everybody is their own person, and who's to say that any way is right or wrong in 2022?
Exactly. I mean, everybody's got their own philosophy about what pro wrestling is and can be, and if you don't think your philosophy necessarily lines up with somebody else, and you therefore don't feel like their advice would do you much good, then I get that. You would probably just go about your business. I understand, man.
So that being said, if WWE is going to pay him to dole out advice, and you're going to have a bunch of performance center recruits, next in line people, or even indie people, and his job is to teach, because they have classes at NXT.
Yeah.
And his
job, it's a structured environment where the whole point of that environment is to teach people how to wrestle professionally.
Right. Yeah. And look, it's just a difference between AEW and WWE.
Sports Entertain. Sorry, it's WB Sports Entertain.
Sports Entertain. And so, did you see that little tiny clip from Twitter. I'm sorry, it was on Twitter. It was from AEW Dark or Elevation, and Daddy Magic was on commentary. And the two competitors that were in this match, I don't even know what the match was, but it was like a tag team match. And I forget what their names. Maybe somebody in chat will know what I'm talking about. And they do like little pirouettes. The two guys, they look like indie wrestlers from or they look like NWA wrestlers from like 1983 or something.
Oh, wow.
Very unique look, very silly looking. And Daddy Magic just breaks and says, "Who are these guys?" with so much glee. It was really fun. I don't know. I just stumbled upon it. Apparently I have to start watching Darker Elevation because all sorts of that little funny shit happens.
Yeah.
But,
it seems like a looser show.
Yeah, but anyways, getting back to it.
Getting back to your point about nothing here necessarily contradicts what EC3 said. I guess maybe to an extent the stuff about people not heeding Regal's advice, because it seems like that was happening. Maybe in the degree to which it was happening varied according to Pillman's account. Some days there'd be a lot of people ringside, sometimes not so much.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing in here from this SE Scoops report necessarily contradicts the idea of Regal having issues with management potentially. That aspect's not addressed. I mean, I don't, as far as Regal telling anybody, I regret this decision, I don't know Regal. He seems like a classy dude. I don't know if he'd put it in so many words. Don't know.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe EC3 is telling it straight, or maybe he's attempting to control his own narrative. But yeah, I don't know, man. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I don't know. It also just seems like two sides that are trying to paint a picture a certain way, but it's the same picture. It's like, no, everything's fine here. He didn't have to do, but it's all just the same thing. It's just different points of view. Two sides.
It's two outlooks on maybe the same stuff. Yeah, he's going down doing informal training sessions and drills ringside, and from the AEW perspective, it's like, yeah, it's informal. People can come if they want, if not. And then from, I guess, the EC3 perspective is, well, Regal's there. How come the entire locker room isn't emptying out to watch these sessions?
Yeah.
Therefore, that's a problem.
Derek Brightwell here in Twitch chat has it. Says the Outrunners, Truth Magnum, and Turbo Floyd.
Wow, those are great names.
Aren't those amazing names?
Those are outstanding names.
Those are great names.
So, good old JR, Jim Ross.
Oh, man. Wow. Controversy. Oh, boy.
Regal's time in AEW.
Oh,
on the latest edition.
Man, let me tell you this one. Listen. Don't put words in my mouth, all right? Man, don't put words in my mouth, all right? Here, I'm going to tell you what it is. This is what good old JR has to say about the situation. He's been a very valuable resource. You can't replace guys with that kind of experience. In Regal's case, the patience to help these young guys. He was in the ring every day at TV. He's always had time for the talent, young green guys. He's one of those guys you can't replace easily or at all. I don't know if you can replace him at all, quite frankly. He's been an amazing boost for us, and we'll see. I think as we speak, he might be in England. He's been a great friend, a loyal guy, honest, hardworking. The patience to work with some of these young cats is tough. He's been talked about a lot here, so we'll see where it goes storyline-wise, and as we move forward, I don't have a clue. I like to not know. He's a hell of a guy, and has been a very valuable team member in AEW since he arrived. The only thing JR likes to know is where I'm going to get a piece at. He's horny. Oh my gosh. That last part I made up because it's funny.
That wasn't from the transcript from Wrestling Inc.
No. Horny JR does make me laugh. But he did not say those words.
No, he
that I know of. He's probably said that, to be honest with you, like having observed horny JR.
It's entirely possible.
All bricked up, this JR. Oh man, business about to pick up. And when I say business, I mean my organ. Jesus, JR.
JR, my goodness.
Gosh darn it. So anyways, for those of you who hate my JR impression, I'm sorry, but I had to do that. I mean, you didn't really say anything new there, but yeah, and it looks like he's not coming back till January to WWE anyways.
Yeah.
So he's enjoying Christmas.
Like whether it's a short-term contract, exercising the out clause, it seems like he's not free to show up in WWE till early next year. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So. Speaking of WWE, we could talk Raw.
WWE. Yeah, man, let's talk Raw.
A huge focus in this episode of Raw on the women's division.
I know.
We had two triple threat bouts. The winner of those bouts will go on to face each other to take on Bianca Belair
Yeah.
at some point in the future. Two really, really awesome matches. They were developing stories in both matches. In the process of the build and the execution of those two matches, we have potential stories between, well, now Alexa and Bianca, because Alexa won her triple threat. They could continue, which I'd be surprised if they did, Bayley versus Bianca, because Bayley won the other triple threat.
Yeah.
Looks like we're getting a Bayley-Becky feud, which is why I'm pessimistic that Bayley is another title shot.
Yeah.
Because all what Damage Control was talking about last night was wanting to was Becky.
Yeah. And they've done Bayley Bianca a trillion times.
Yeah, exactly. And also they're setting the ground, the setting down, doing the work, to
laying
get
the groundwork
down for Becky and Rhea at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Becky and Rhea, Becky Bayley. Yeah. They're setting up a lot of stuff right now.
Yeah.
Nikki and Candice, they're still setting that up because she was creeping in the background. You're also setting up possibility in the short term, Rhea and Asuka.
Yep.
And I have some speculation that it wouldn't shock me. You know, commentary mentioned last night, Corey Graves specifically mentioned, this is nothing new, they've done this before, that Asuka used to be one of the most feared opponents on the women's roster. I have no doubt that Triple H would love to get her back there.
Oh, yeah.
And the beatdown that we saw last night, while it wasn't extraordinarily vicious or anything like that, might lead me to believe that maybe Asuka is going to, and I've been saying this for a while, and maybe it's just me hoping, but to get people to a place of prominence again, maybe a bit of a rebrand. We saw this before with Asuka when she introduced the Mist.
The Mist, yeah.
And it was pretty effective for a short period of time. And then, Vince sort of fell off on that, of course, like he always does. But this is Triple H, and we all know, you can just look at Asuka's run in NXT, and you can see how he feels about Asuka. I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but it would not shock me at all to see Asuka go through sort of like Maggie here in chat says, sort of a Kana-esque Asuka. If you look at her work before NXT, there was times she was like a demon zombie type character. It's just really, really cool shit. And if you have her go a little bit more strong style, if you will, and maybe like a visual rebrand, you could do some fucking cool stuff with that. I mean, talk about the potentials for storylines there, man. I think people would love that stuff. And somebody finally, because, dude, nobody really has an answer. I know Rhea didn't win the match last night, but Rhea, her sort of reintroduction through Triple H and Judgment Day, she is like the most dangerous, feared person on the roster now.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And you got to step it up now if you're going to have a feud with her. And it seems like Asuka's going to do that. I think it'd be silly for them not to have Asuka sort of pivot a little bit into a nastier version of her.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like the road ahead is going to be, short term at least, Asuka, Rhea. And then we're going to get Becky Bayley. I don't know if, I guess it'd probably have to. If they're going to do Becky Bayley, then that's going to take us through the Rumble.
Yeah.
At the least. I wouldn't be surprised if we get Becky Rhea at Mania, because I think the idea with Rhea is that they're really building her up to be a contender for Bianca's title. But I think by the time she challenges Bianca, the idea is that there's a very good chance that she will actually win that title.
It's going to be
I think they're
like
going to
inevitable.
take a lot of time with Rhea.
Yeah.
And so if they do Becky Rhea at Mania and Rhea gets that huge win over Becky, that'd be pretty massive.
What do you think the Bianca match at Mania would be then? Because you're saying Rhea versus Becky at Mania?
Yeah, it could be Charlotte.
Yeah, Charlotte maybe.
I mean, then there's Alexa too. Assuming that she wins next week against Bayley and faces Bianca for the title, then you got to ask, okay, because again, she was warming up backstage. There was Lily on one side of her in background. There was a monitor and it flashed the Bray logo again. How is Bray's story going to cross over with Alexa's? And if she loses in her title shot against Bianca, is that what's going to send her, back to, the kind of storyline that she had with Bray initially, whatever new thing Bray has now? Don't know.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up, because that is the title on this particular episode. I put it in the thumbnail. at least one half of it. And yeah, I mean, I do feel like, so this title shot's going to be what, like 2 weeks from now, because they've got the singles match between Alexa and Bayley coming up next week. And so they'll do that afterwards. Here's the thing about Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss, to a degree. Yeah, a loss right here absolutely would warrant a character change. And we've seen it literally since the moment Triple H got the pencil, if you will, took over creative. They've been teasing Alexa going back. I mean, I'll never forget how awesome the image was. And the match was crap. The finish was crap. But that image of Alexa Bliss and how they dolled her up for that Mania match, that last Mania match with Bray and Randy Orton before Bray left or before he was fired or whatever, was striking, and it was awesome. And I wanted to know where they were going to go with it, and then they didn't. But if they're going to pick up that sort of thread, absolutely a loss would be the way to go. Like it's like sort of a necessity at that point. By the way, shout out, no doubt, to all the weird Alexa Bliss super fans in our YouTube comments. I hope you're happy. We have her on, the thumbnail. So please go to town in our comments and appreciate this. Maybe we'll have her back in a thumbnail next week. I don't know. But let's talk about this turn. So she flips out. What would you rather see? Her as sort of an extension of the Bray Uncle Howdy stuff on Raw and remain on Raw, or actually join him physically? Because I think it'd be kind of interesting. What if Uncle Howdy had Bray on SmackDown, and then we also get Uncle Howdy on Raw controlling Alexa as sort of the Bray version of the women's division on Raw? I think that could be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that'd be good too. Because what they could do if they wanted to is have Bianca win against Alexa here or in a couple weeks' time, have Alexa go through that transformation. Don't rush it. Give it time. And then if they want to revisit that, it may be WrestleMania because they think there's some huge spectacle, there's a good story they could tell there. You could revisit it then. Or if they want to move on and have Bliss feud with other people in the women's division, they could do that too. I mean, I like the idea of having... I mean, my opinion is the more Uncle Howdy, the better.
Yeah, of course.
So if we get Uncle Howdy on Raw and SmackDown, that's great. That means we're one step closer to him with both titles at UFC fights sitting ringside. That's
ideal. That's what we want to see, him giving Al Roker some static on the set of Good Morning America or the Today Show, whichever one is on. Thank you. Speaking of Uncle Howdy, if you click join on YouTube, become a channel member, as Twitch is doing right here, throwing up those Uncle Howdy emotes. We've got an Uncle Howdy emote on YouTube that you could use during our live shows and just blow up our chat with Uncle Howdy, because he is he is Wrestler of the Year. Breakouts. This is the first time, in my opinion, I think we're going to get Breakout Star of the Year and Superstar of the Year, Uncle Howdy, in the Friendo Awards or whatever we do.
It's amazing. He hasn't even wrestled the match and yet winning all the awards.
Dude, it's Uncle Howdy. Come on now. All you got to do is click join. You can use Uncle Howdy. So yeah, I don't know, man. I think the one thing is, and I feel this and I've seen it, they got to get a move on with Bray sooner than later. And one thing that I'd be interested in seeing, as YouTube starts hitting up the Uncle Howdy, by the way, we've got NXT tonight. Yes. And if you guys want over on YouTube, if you don't do it, that's fine. 200 likes on YouTube. More importantly, we'll zoom in Triple H because you guys have some unfinished business.
You got to run but you have to run this by me. What's so bad yesterday? At least Byron was on the show.
I texted you. Whoa. I texted you. I said, hey, you cool if Paul comes in?
No, you didn't text me that at all.
It's on my phone right here, man. Anyways.
That's not even a phone. That's a piece of paper. Did you just write it down?
What did I write down? I wrote down.
Anyways,
I wrote down David
on
Puddy's
YouTube. I guess you got to give us some likes, and then I guess
200 likes.
Be berated by Triple H again today. Hooray.
So Twitch chat, go raid YouTube, get those likes up to 200. Paul will zoom in at the end of this to preview NXT and give you an update on the Byron Saxton situation. You guys remember yesterday, Paul zoomed in, and guess what happened?
You better recount the events accurately, or you're gonna just make me angry.
And I wouldn't like you when I'm angry.
No, you wouldn't.
Well, hey,
you still got a whole Raw recap to do. You don't want to deal with me when a grumpy mood having to do this whole Raw recap.
Yeah, that right, buddy. Let's go ahead and pay some bills first, though. What do you say?
Yep.
All right. Let's see here. So, yeah, we're going to take a break here to get a word from our sponsor, Raycon. Larson, The most wonderful time of the year 2022 is almost here. It's the holidays. We're in the middle of holiday season, man. I'm all about the Christmas. But that's not to say there's not stress this time of the year. Maybe you got to worry about holiday travel, or maybe you got to worry about prepping a meal for the whole family, extended family. Or maybe you got to be around some family members that simply drive you up the wall, like you have your own Uncle Howdy. Well, the last thing you want to stress about, Larson, is finding a great gift for everybody on your list.
That's right, Steve. And that's why my go-to gift idea is some premium audio products from Raycon. I've been using my Raycon wireless earbuds for a while now, and I've found they're useful in just about any situation. You know, I use them to listen to podcasts or music while I'm working out or when out running errands, or if I just want to listen to something mellow and relax. So I know that anyone that you gift some Raycons to will find a use for them right away.
Absolutely. And for the next month, Raycon will have a countdown to Christmas with a new pop-up flash sale deal for you to take advantage of every single day. You can also now find Raycons in stores like Kohl's and Walmart, but you'll always get the best deal at buyraycon.com/raw.
Right now, and I mean right now, go to buyraycon.com/raw to get 15% off site-wide with code HOLIDAY plus free shipping. That's code HOLIDAY at buyraycon.com/raw for 15% off your Raycon purchase. buyraycon.com/raw.
So Monday Night Raw kicked off with the Usos. That's right.
Yes.
We got ourselves that tag match. So that's what it was going to be.
It was supposed to be.
But then plans changed because we see a video of earlier in the day, the Bloodline showing up in a car in their Suburban. And Byron's there waiting for them. And, of course, Roman's not there. He asked the remaining members of the Bloodline about their match. And then as they're talking about it, Riddle comes scooting furiously by on his little scooter. And then everybody gets pissed off about that. He gets fired up. He says, Byron, it doesn't matter. We're going to get him and his partner like every other tag team. He says, guess who showed up? We the ones. And then Elias, so like Solo had sort of ducked out of frame. And it looked like he was like chasing Riddle or something. Yeah, and he went in that direction. Well, then Elias shows up, and Solo had gone behind the car and then attacked Elias from behind. They just beat the living shit out of him, sent him in a bunch of guardrails, and Sammy's laughing. And he looks at him. He's like, he looks like he's really injured.
Yeah.
And then, so then they all come to the ring. Jay says, the Bloodline's now in your city. Jimmy says, we got bad news. The tag match supposed to go down is canceled. And then Jay says, the Enforcer done bodied Elias in the parking lot. Jimmy says, now we all know you came to see us compete, but the bright side is Riddle won't be humiliated, and Elias can sit at home and write music. The Usos can focus on being the best tag team ever and defending these to whoever runs up. But if they do run up, they're going to get done up because they're the twos. And then we, of course, are ones. And that brings out
Riddle comes out. Yeah. He's like, bro, that wasn't cool of you to take out Elias, dude. Tonight was first night, his first opportunity to get gold. He says, if I'm being real, it's not like the Bloodline to run from a fight. It's not very Usi. So Sammy cuts him off and says, let me explain something. You're not the one who decides that. He says, I'm an expert in the field. I'm a certified Usologist. For example, Solo showing once again why he's the Enforcer, taking Elias out of commission. That's Usi. The Usos continuing to be the longest reigning champs in history. That's Usi. You coming out here and running your mouth thinking you have a chance of beating the Bloodline. That is not Usi. He continues, unless you want to suffer the same fate as your tag partner, turn around and go home. And so Riddle says, well, I found a new tag partner. And he and I really aren't bros, but we both hate the Bloodline. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Kevin Owens.
So let me ask something.
Uh-huh.
If you're Riddle, you're backstage. You're like, hey, Kevin Owens, you be my partner. Kevin Owens just dropped a promo saying, I don't have anything to do with Sammy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he out here? It's not like Roman's there. I know he also wants to get at Roman. He wants to get those titles off Roman.
Yeah. I guess maybe he thinks the clearest path to get to Roman is just to take it to the rest of the bloodline. That would be my guess. But in the process, then he has to cross paths with Sammy.
Yeah, right.
Unless him saying he doesn't want to cross paths with Sammy was just a means. It was his way of trying to upset Sammy to such a degree that Sammy be like, "Well, I don't want that to happen.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
I don't want to. I want to be around my friend. I want to be able to do things with my friend and go from town to town and so on and so forth. But we can't do that now.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, bloodline.
Yeah.
Sammy called his bluff.
Yeah.
At least the time being. Maybe that's what it was.
So we had this match. Good stuff. Lasted like through several commercial breaks. Raw rolled on several times. And you gotta love everything that happened here towards the finish. So the finish saw, let's see here. So Riddle sends Jay over the ropes. Solo and Kevin Owens meet eye to eye as Riddle flies and takes out Solo with a plancha. That was like a big sort of the beginning of the finish here. Big move. So Jay takes Owens out with a super kick. Riddle hits Jay with a knee, puts him back in the ring, and then sort of confronts Sammy as Jimmy makes a tag to be the legal man. Jay hits super kick to Riddle, and then they get the 1D, 1, 2, 3. The Usos are your winners. So after the match, the Bloodline start stomping on Riddle. Owens gets in with a chair, and he starts laying out Jimmy and Jay. He runs them up the ramp. So, meanwhile, Riddle is still out of it in the ring. Solo gets in there and just absolutely annihilates him. This was absolutely fantastic. He hits Riddle with a super kick, punches. Solo beats the crap out of him using, he gets the Samoan spike, whoop-ah, and then he hits a nasty hip attack, and then it gets even worse. He brings the chair in, and he sets the chair up around Riddle's head, puts him in the corner. He sort of gives a shout out to Umaga, and then he hits his hip attack on the chair, smashing Riddle's head. And this was just absolutely amazing stuff. The refs have to come out. They put Riddle on a stretcher. They get him in a brace. As we go to commercial, turns out they had to load him in an ambulance. This was amazing stuff because honestly, I'm sort of tired of Riddle. And they need to do something. They need to do something new with him, man.
I know they do. I mean, it seems like the story they've kind of been doing with Riddle is now that Randy's not there, he's looking for a new friend. So he's looking for a new tag partner because he wants a new friend. But it's just, I don't know. There's a more interesting way to go about doing it. I kind of felt
he's so one-dimensional.
I know they're leaning on kind of the more annoying aspects of Riddle's character.
Yeah, it's
rather than fleshing it out. But maybe I guess the only thing I can think of is, well, from Riddle's perspective, those aspects are what eventually endeared Randy to him. So he's using that same kind of stuff to try to find another friend. It's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's, everybody so far, Triple H has tried his darndest to make transformations matter. And even in the case of Austin Theory, he had a humiliating cash-in, and he sort of started giving zero fucks. And so then we saw with Austin Theory, granted the way he won the U.S. title back was weird, but you get the idea. There was a catalyst for his transformation there. And that's sort of been the case with everybody. He tries to motivate character changes, which you like to see. And so I wonder if Riddle, this is going to be that moment, because this was violent, this was brutal. And maybe he'll come back a little less goofy, a little less, he get rid of the. I know people like it, and you can retain the essence of Riddle, the all the weed stuff and whatnot, and the fun loving guy. But I don't know, like there needs to be a switch that he turns on, that is, and he just needs to be less annoying backstage. Like there's nothing really endearing about him, and I feel like they can bring something out of him.
Yeah, you'd think so. After that, we get a Rhea Ripley Judgment Day promo. So Rhea says both Becky and Bayley are credible. They're very good at what they do, but they're not Rhea Bloody Ripley. So I'm done with them tonight, and they're crying their eyes out. I'll be laughing my way to Bianca for the Raw Women's title. And when I'm done with Bianca, the whole locker room be calling me mommy.
Yeah, and then she whispers something to Dom.
Yeah.
Dom kills me. So speaking of Dom, he was part of this JBL Poker Invitational. So it was backstage. We have the OC, Judgment Day, Tozawa, Alpha Academy, Shelton, Dana Brooke, Baron Corbin, of course, and then JBL, very proud of himself, and he's trying to take this very seriously, Larson.
Yes.
He says, welcome to the JBL Poker Invitational. And it's funny, there's two things funny about this before we launch into this. Number one, that anybody thought, again, look, nobody's perfect, including Triple H. Don't let him hear me say that, by the way. By the way, we're at 129 likes now. We get to 200, he zooms in. All right, it's that simple. So 300, 400 people watching on YouTube right now. Hit that like button. Smash that like button. Triple H zooms in at the end of the show. The idea that him coming out and declaring Baron Corbin as the next wrestling god, the fact that ever passed like a first draft is insane.
Yeah.
He's actually entertaining in these little backstage segments because he's reacting to the insanity of the WWE product. And that's always fun. The absurdity of wrestling and him reacting to that, to me, is entertaining, certainly more so than getting in the middle of the ring and calling everybody snowflakes.
Yes.
So I like this a bit more for him and Baron Corbin. It's just funny that everything is going to be poker game motivated whenever Baron Corbin has a match.
Seemingly. I mean, the poker reference is what, a good 15 years out of date?
Yeah, sure.
In terms of poker being like
it was huge. It was huge in like 2002 or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was pretty huge. Gosh, 20 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he's talking about how this will be a more substantial thing than the World Cup, the Olympics, and he starts talking crap to Tozawa. And then Loomis walks in with Gargano, and he says to Loomis, "I assume you don't get mail at Crystal Lake. Jason, this is invitation only. I did not invite you. I doubt you have the buy-in, so stare at someone uncomfortably outside." And so, of course, Loomis has that giant bag of money that he won from Miz.
Yeah.
Dumps it on the table, and then JBL pretty much tells him, pull up a seat. Your money's good here.
I'm going to quiz you because I am ignorant of this. How much is 50 dimes?
I don't know. I actually looked that up, too.
Did you? What?
Yeah.
No answer, really?
No, I couldn't.
I assumed it was 500.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I assumed it was 500 because there's 1 0 and a dime because it's 10 cents. And then there's a 0, so it'd be 500. But but the only other answer would be like 5,000, right? That seems a bit pricey.
I mean, if it's a high roller game, that's not out of bounds.
I guess so. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe somebody.
Yeah, I thought 500, but then 500. If the buy-in's 500, I'm like, if this is like a huge poker tournament with stakes, 500 isn't that much.
He wants it to be that. You got to start at a certain place.
Well, Metal Nervous says $5, which would
literally it is $5. That's true.
50 dimes, yeah.
Right. But given that again, Angelic Wolf says 50, not a chance. Is that actually what it means? 50 dimes is like a dime is $1,000? People like, let us know in the comments, I guess.
Yeah.
Enforcer thought of 50,000. Boy, he's really overestimating what the WWE superstars make. At least the ones in that room. So we had our first women's triple threat. Bayley versus Asuka versus Rhea Ripley. This was good stuff. But before the actual match, we had a really great promo between Becky and Bayley. Now, the thing that I liked about this, I think things usually work so much better when the heel's making some good points. Because the one thing Bayley doesn't lie about is the fact that she is legitimately always trying to elevate her partners in Damage Control. On social media, she always talks about how proud she is of them. When she's, when they became champions, she was putting them front and center. She's always trying to elevate, and her thesis is, I'm trying to make everybody else better. That's why I want to control this place, because I want to make everybody else better. Now, you can get the insinuation, obviously, that, yes, she'll make everybody else better as long as she's the one on top.
Okay, sorry to interject here. Die Hard Homer says dime is an old school gambling term for $1,000. So
wow. Oh, man.
Okay. This game needs real stakes.
Dude, that's a lot. Yeah. Okay. All right. So anyways, Becky makes her way through the crowd, says, "Hey, old pal, I can't call you old pals. You and your cronies jumped me." She says, "Guys, I was at the merch stand reminiscing how I beat up Bayley and her 2 cronies last week. That was awesome." Bayley said, "It'd be awesome if you hurried up." She said, "Did you also?" She said, "Did you know it's been 3?" Becky says, "You know it's been 3 years since we faced each other one-on-one." She says, "We barely scratched the surface. I was gone. You were here. You held the company on your back during the Thunderdome era. And Bayley was like, yeah, you guys can cheer for that. So I came back and you were gone, and vice versa. Bayley says, you don't have to tell us the history. We all know it. I'm about to win a triple threat match to face Bianca Belair, so you don't need to tell us our history. Stop reminiscing about the past. You're coming down the aisle, interrupting my stories, thinking you can do what you want. Becky says, yeah, the difference between us, Bex, is when we're here. Bayley says this. She says, the difference between us is when we're here, the spotlight is all about you. And the crowd cheers and chants Becky. And Becky's like, yeah, it is. She says, you don't care about anyone else, but I care about the WWE. That's exactly what I did when you were gone, and that's why I have Dakota and Io, because I look out for the future, you idiots. So she berates the crowd about the lack of respect, and they start chanting Becky again. She says, you're looking out for them, and Damage Control has been successful. Becky says, 2/3 have been successful. She says, 2 champs and 1 loser. She says, but I hope you win tonight, and finally we can go one-on-one again and make more history if you're woman enough to face the man. Then Rhea's music hits. She makes her way down, and they do this prolonged stare down, which was just like fucking, goosebumps, man. This was really, really cool stuff.
It was good. They were talking trash to each other. It was good stuff.
Yeah. So then that was a little while, and then Rhea goes to the ring. Asuka comes down to the ring, and we get our match.
Phenomenal bout. Again, all the matches, pretty much, they gave it a lot of time to.
Yeah, right.
The opening tag bout, the 2 women's triple threats, the 6-man tag bout with OC against Baron and Alpha Academy all got a lot of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
So hats off to Triple H for featuring a lot of wrestling on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic bout. Down towards the finish. Rhea's more or less dominating for a good chunk of it. There was a stretch of time where Bayley and Rhea were teaming up to take out Asuka. And Bayley at one point is trying to give Rhea orders. And Rhea's like, I'm not in Damage Control. You can't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And so they start going at it. So down towards the end, Rhea hits a couple headbutts on Bayley, hits a Northern Light suplex for a 2, then hits electric chair slam on Asuka. Rhea drop kicks Bayley off the apron and tries to take her out with a senton off the apron, which she had hit earlier. She misses.
Yeah.
And so Bayley gets back in the ring, looks for a Bayley to belly on Asuka, hits that, gets the 2, Asuka then misses. Sorry, Asuka avoids Bayley to belly, hits some strikes, looks for a missile drop kick, misses that, and Bayley hits her with the rose plant to get the win. And commentary made a point of saying Rhea had that match won, but she took her focus off Asuka, who seemed like she was beaten at that juncture, and went after Bayley, and that ended up costing her the match. So after the match, Rhea gets back in the ring and just beats the heck out of Asuka, hits her with a riptide, and then she pissed, and leaves.
Yeah.
But she destroyed Asuka in the ring, so maybe it's entirely possible that could be the next feud for both of them, and then from that point on, we can get some sort of new iteration of Asuka.
I think that would be a real smart move, and I could totally see with so much with so much change going on, I could see that being a possibility. After that, we see a tweet from Drew McIntyre. He's not medically cleared to compete on Friday with Sheamus because they're supposed to have a tag match against the Usos, a championship match, and so of course Pete Dunne's going to be his replacement. After that, we have Seth Rollins coming out dancing as a crowd sings along to his song. So it's announced next week is Lashley versus Rollins for a number 1 contender match for the U.S. title. And he sort of conducts the orchestra for the crowd there as they chant his theme song. I like this little note here from Chris, too. Thanks once again, Chris, for the notes here.
Yes.
Awesome job.
Awesome.
Yeah, he cackles and slaps hands and daps up a woman for wearing a Becky shirt, which you'll love to see.
Yeah, because it was last week that when Becky was in the crowd, someone had a Seth shirt.
Right, yeah.
Oh, nice shirt.
Yeah, totally. So anyways, he greets everybody. He says, I have breaking news, Washington, D.C. He says, 1 week from tonight, yours truly is going to go one-on-one with Bobby Lashley, number 1 contender for the U.S. Championship. He says, I got plenty of things to say to old Bob, but him not being out here, that's not fun, and DC wants some fun tonight. He says, you sounded like you enjoyed singing my song, and the crowd starts singing, but then Lashley interrupts, so Lashley comes out, and he looks like $1 million. Both dudes look like $1 million.
Yeah.
So anyways, Seth looks at Bobby. Crowd has a big Bobby chant. He says, "So Seth, I'm here. What do you want to tell me? And also, be careful with what you want to tell me." And Seth tries his damnedest to play some nasty mind games here. Mm-hmm. He says, "Man, you haven't been the same since Crown Jewel and losing to Brock Lesnar, but there's no shame in that. But we want to know, what's your obsession with me? Are you scared of, or with him, with Brock." He says, "Are you scared of him? He's probably a bit bigger, definitely stronger." And Bobby's like, "Man, you're just trying to get me rattled." He's like, no. If you're not scared, then you must be jealous of Brock. He's a bigger star, won more championships. That's it. Brock had the career you wish you had. Bobby gets sick of this. He grabs him by the lapel. He says, "It's about you, me, and the U.S. title." And Seth's like, "Well, relax. As you know as well as I do, that the U.S. title's not going to fill the void in your heart knowing you can't beat Brock. And if you don't get your head right, beating you next week is going to be easier than the first time." That's enough for Bobby. He decks him. They both start slugging it out. We get a pull apart brawl.
Yes, we do.
And during the course of this, we get Adam Pearce and Petey Williams trying to break it up with a bunch of refs. And then Seth gets back in the ring. Bobby runs back down, and they start fighting more. But Seth avoids a spear. But that spear doesn't just miss. It destroys Petey Williams, who's not able to counter with a Canadian destroyer.
Nope.
Absolutely destroys it. And Bobby's pretty pissed off that he hit. What was his nickname for
Maple Leaf Muscle?
The Maple Leaf Muscle. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. No counter, no destroyer counter from that spear.
We're at 160 likes, 40 more likes. And the game himself will zoom in, and we'll get Byron Gate figured out, because Larson tried to have Byron Saxton fired yesterday.
That's not true. I said if you're going to talk about it, get the details right. And
what's my misinterpretation here?
I did not try to get anybody fired. I mentioned something that was available on WWE's social, and apparently Triple H had not approved that internally. I had no inside information to that effect. Therefore, I did not try to get anybody fired. None of that's true.
So you say.
No, I mean, factually, it's just not true anyways. After that, we had Austin Theory interview. He's being asked, what do you have to say about what you just saw? And he says, you know what I saw? The past. 2 former champs fighting over scraps, oblivious to the fact the business evolved and forgot them. It's my time. I have all the cards. Plus a couple challengers when the forever is just happening. So Mustafa Ali is off screen as Theory turns to leave. And Ali says, "Forever, huh? You know you love writing checks you can't cash in. Oh, I don't want to hear about cashing in, do you?" And then Theory says, "You're annoying and complain about opportunities. Why don't you quit?" And Ali says, "Well, because I'm not like you. Unlike you, I have to fight for everything I have. So know this, Theory. I'm going to go down, but I'm going to get back up. Back in your face, become U.S. champ." And then Theory challenges him to a match. But says, "After tonight, I don't want to hear you crying about another opportunity again."
So I hate to say this, but Theory has a good point, because Mustafa Ali, as much as I love seeing him on TV, man, this dude gets his ass kicked all the time, Larson. However, after what we saw, that finish of the match, I like to think that there's somebody maybe a little bit lower on the pecking order that can serve as a win for Mustafa Ali.
You're talking about Dolph, yes.
I'm talking about Dolph. I mean, at least Ali can get a win over Dolph, right?
I'd like to hope so.
I'd like to hope so, too. I don't know.
I like to hope so. So anyways, we're back at the JBL Poker Invitational. Gable folds against the OC. He's talking about poker is about having the intelligence, knowing to push forward or walk away. And so Gallows calls him a nerd. He says shoosh, nerd shoosh. It goes back and forth for a bit. And Baron says enough, because he's trying to get a read on Dexter, whether he's bluffing or if he's actually got a good hand. And Baron comes to the conclusion he's bluffing. He says, "I'm going to take all your money and send you back to the loony bin." So he lays down. He's got a straight. Dexter turns over his cards. Full house. He wins. So Baron accuses Dexter of cheating, having cards up his sleeve. Keep that in mind for later. So then Dexter pulls out a giant axe out of nowhere.
This one looked
Run to the
legit
table.
too. Yeah, this is not like the Rampage axes. This one looked
No,
legit.
this looks very sharp. And lays it on the table, and Baron is like, all right, it's all good. You win.
Mm-hmm.
So then we go to the other table where Tozawa had just won a huge pot. And as he's bringing it over towards him, Dominic's over there trying to skim a little bit off.
Oh, piece of shit.
And then so Tozawa grabs his hand to get him to stop. And Dom says, it's my show. Whatever I want, I get. And if you have a problem with that, then Judgment Day has a problem with you. And Tozawa just says, I don't care. You are the problem.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
And then Dom says to Tozawa, you're as short as my deadbeat dad. And then by that point, JBL comes over and tells them to stop arguing. If they want to fight, do it outside. And then that match happens later.
Dude, I'm sorry. Dom is like the biggest turnaround for me. I used to want this kid off my TV, and this like every time he's got a reference for his deadbeat dad.
I know.
What did he say? What did he say about why he attacked him at Thanksgiving? He doesn't deserve
because he had his tree up before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, Dom kills me. This little piece of shit, just doing whatever he wants and having the Judgment Day it has his back. I love it. So then we had the U.S. Championship match, Mustafa Ali versus Austin Theory. Was this for the title?
No. Oh, yeah, it must have been.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, it must have been.
Okay. All right. So anyways, great match. Ali, once again, like he changed up his gear a little bit again. He's got the tights on instead of like
He's got
shorts.
the pants back. Yeah.
He's got the pants back, and God, it's like a black and gold scheme, but it looks
great.
absolutely beautiful.
It is awesome.
Yeah. And this was really great stuff. There was one bit where they got they were going for something that looked like, I don't know, Rana, like some sort of top rope Rana in the corner, something like that. And then, but they sort of flubbed it a little bit, and it looked kind of scary. But both guys recovered pretty nicely.
Yeah.
But Ali, this dude sells like nobody else in the business, except for maybe Dolph Ziggler. Speaking of Dolph Ziggler, he comes out of nowhere and gives a super kick to Austin Theory.
Yeah.
And so Austin Theory gets the win by DQ here. And then Ali afterwards is like, hey, what the hell, man? So he grabs him. They start arguing. Theory takes him out both, starts laying it on Ziggler. He chucks Ali hard into the ring post. Then he hits A-Town down on Ziggler. A-Town down. And then he holds up his title. And he poses with it. So it seems like we're going to get like maybe a triple threat program with these guys.
Maybe, but we still have Seth versus Lashley next week for number one contender, so I don't know. I mean, Theory had Ali in like the Tree of Woe outside of the ring, kicking him and stomping him and punching him in the face repeately.
You think this is just going to spin off Ali and Dolph then?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I get the feeling that, there is still that thing, huh?
Yeah.
Because that
at least short term, yeah.
Yeah, that finish Seth is going to find a way to have Lashley accidentally spear probably, the Maple Leaf muscle again or something.
Something.
So, but no, that he's still going to be in waiting. So, I don't know.
I don't know either. We're back to the poker tournament. Outside the door, JBL is on the phone with somebody. Miz walks up and he's like, hey, I think there's been a slight oversight on your part. I wasn't invited. And JBL's like, oh, I didn't know you played cards. Sure, you can come on in anytime, even mid-game, but it's $50,000 buy-in. And Miz says, due to what's happened recently, I don't really have that much liquid cash on me. But you know me, I'm good for it. And JBL's like, you haven't been very good at paying your debts recently. And by the way, everybody paid cash. Mm-hmm. And so Miz says, well, I got a Rolex. And so JBL looks at it and goes, second hand is supposed to tick. It's fake.
He says it so but he didn't say it aggressively like that. He said, Miz, this is fake. And Miz is like, what? And he's like, yeah, the second hand's supposed to tick or something like that.
Yeah, and it was very matter of fact. Yeah,
it was very matter of fact. Like, look, dude, you're broke. Get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. So then the Miz storms off. We go to commercial. We come back. We're back in the room with the tournament. Gable yet again folds. Baron wins the pot with 4 kings, but when he stands up and to collect his pot, he's got a bunch of cards that fall out of his sleeve. Same thing he accused Loomis of doing.
Yeah, man.
So everybody,
it's always the people who are accusing people. They're the ones doing the thing.
Mm-hmm. So rightly, everybody starts giving them crap. First and foremost, AJ Styles. So they get in each other's face. They start pushing. JBL gets between them, says, you're not going to ruin my tournament. There's no fighting in this room. Mm-hmm. So AJ challenges Baron and Alpha Academy to a match against the OC. So they leave. Pretty much everybody leaves. And then so it's just Dexter and Johnny Gargano there. And so Dexter throws the dealer a stack of hundreds, and then he and Gargano try to collect all the money they can and get out of there.
Yeah, no, that was good stuff. After that, we had a Bianca Belair interview. This was like fairly long, and it's just it always impressed me to see people come to the point where, man, they can just go and come off as so natural. Bianca has, man, she is an absolute star. Anyways, so Kathy asked Bianca about the number one contender match and talking about Bayley. She said, well, what she did was impressive, but I know how to handle her. Said, I'd be proud to face any of the women who competed tonight, even Rhea, even if she took her anger out on my War Games partner, Asuka. She says, Alexa, Becky, and Nikki are all dangerous competitors in their own way, and Alexa was a great partner. Nikki's a wild card, and Becky is incredible. She says, they better get ready for the EST, though, because I stay ready, so I don't have to get ready.
Yep. And then we had a 6-man tag match. We had the OC, AJ, and the Good Brothers taking on Baron Corbin and Alpha Academy. Another match they gave a ton of time.
They did,
it was a one whole, commercial break. So segment, commercial break, another segment. A lot of fun stuff here. In the end, Deviled Eggs get the win.
The Deviled Eggs.
Carl Anderson actually being involved in a pinfall victory for once.
Oh, man, you love to see it. He's the current IWGP Never champion. Man, god damn, man. You know, I manifested Sammy getting that full bloodline entrance. I'm hoping to manifest Sammy getting the big ARG version of Statue Sammy.
Yeah.
My last thing for this year, Carl Anderson. When's he defend? Isn't it like this weekend or something? He's putting up that title.
It's pretty soon, yeah.
Oh,
pretty
no.
Soon.
Oh, no. He should have that. He should have put the title in the pot. How great would that have been?
Oh, man, I don't know how New Japan would really like that.
Dana would be very unhappy.
He's like, okay, I raise you, never openweight championship.
Oh, man, that'd be great. Yeah.
We have Chad Gable showing up as never openweight champion.
Hey, I'd like to see some Chad Gable New Japan matches.
That'd be
That'd be pretty cool. Chad Gable in G1. Ooh.
That'd be great. So, of course, Chad Gable is the Carl Anderson of Alpha Academy. He takes the loss here.
Yeah.
Anderson gets out of a chaos theory from Gable. OC hit Magic Killer. They get the win. Backstage, Alexa's getting ready for her bout. Lily, the doll, is on one side of her. On the other side, there's a monitor. And for a brief bit, the Bray logo flashes up on there.
Yeah, I think it also happened. Somebody mentioned in chat, and I didn't go back to double check, but did you notice it was on the barricade during the match as well? Like
there was a little bit of a flash on the barricade.
There was okay, yeah.
I didn't notice the logo, but the barricade kind of flashed a little bit. Yeah,
there you go. So yeah, after that we had a Candice LeRae interview. Byron congratulates her about last week and asks about facing EO next week. She says, I'm a marked woman. Last week I returned from an injury that they were responsible for. She says, I'm here, single pixie wings only, but I'm a mom and I have so much more to fight for. So I'm not letting anyone push me around. And then John and Dexter walk up. And she's like, hey, how'd the poker game go? And Johnny and Loomis show her all the money in the bag. And she says, what the f-? And then Johnny puts his hand over her mouth. They did that back in NXT. And they walk off, talk about buying some baby stuff with that money.
Then we got Tozawa taking on Dom. This was the only match that didn't get a ton of time.
Yeah.
Tozawa got a lot of stuff, and he almost hit his finish. The height he got on that senton off the top.
That hurt me.
Crazy.
Like to see him just miss that senton and just land flat. Oh my God. Yeah.
It's like he pretty much fell from like 8 feet in the air on his back.
He really did. He really did, man.
So Dom gets out of the way, the top rope senton, hits a frog splash, gets the win. And afterwards, Judgment Day, they're beating up on Tozawa. Street Profits come out to make the save. So it looks like we're getting Street Profits and Tozawa taking on Judgment Day, and that should be fun.
Yeah, no, that'll be good. That'll be good stuff. And
it seems for sure that Judgment Day and the OC, they have moved on.
Yes, that is absolutely true. So Corey Graves, thank goodness, who's just throwing that out.
Oh, his prognostication or speculation last week.
He was not able to manifest the continuation of this feud.
Yes.
Try as he may. Street Profits, Judgment Day. I'm trying to think what's like the motivating factor here. Like, are they just like, hey, don't beat up on him. He's cool.
Seems to be the case.
Right? We need something to do. Could it be? I'm trying to think. I mean, dude, look. just last week, I was saying Street Profits get together with the Way to form a new faction. You know, what you call them, Dinner Date. Terrible name, but we'll stick with that for now.
I mean, it's the first thing that came to mind.
The Bel Airs.
Really brainstorm it. We didn't workshop that at all. It was just spur of the moment thing.
The Bel Airs and the Wrestlings getting together, and they're bringing their friends along, Dexter, and then of course Dawkins. So you got like a whole mishmash of like wrestling, wrestlers, and then they all feud to Judgment Day. It's perfect. So maybe they'll somehow rope in. I mean, we wouldn't want to see Candice LeRae versus Rhea Ripley. Oh man. Oh wow.
Be great.
And then John versus Finn. Oh wow.
Great.
Wow. Dexter Lumis versus Damian Priest. Why not? Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? Then we get Adam Pearce walks up to Lashley backstage and just gives him all sorts of grief over what happened in the ring. And he says, you can't do that again. But that being said, I'm not going to punish you. I'm not going to take away your shot at being number one contender for the U.S. title. And he says, I know it was an accident. I must ask you to not make another one. Okay,
hold on a second.
What?
It's an accident.
I know, and Lashley rightly said, it's like, what am I supposed to do?
It's an accident. They're accidental. The whole point is you don't manufacture it. You don't try to do it. It's an accident.
I know. That's the very nature of an accident.
Right. Freaking Pierce.
Anyways, yeah, I know. Because Lashley, his whole thing was like, what? I could stop myself mid-spear from spearing somebody, and Seth put Maple Leaf Muscle in the way. What am I to do?
If Maple Leaf Muscle's going to get in the ring and try to start or stop some shit, he better be ready with that Canadian Destroyer, lest he gets hit with the wayward spear.
If PD doesn't want to get hit with a spear, then you got to press that reverse prompt.
If you're going to get in the path, that'd probably be a killer reversal. If you're getting in the path of a spear, you better have a 133% chance knowing that you're going to be able to reverse into a Canadian Destroyer. Is all my point. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
We are
Lashley
less than 15 likes away on YouTube from having Triple H.
I don't know why you have to keep pushing this. We don't really need to do that. I'm sure Paul's got better things to do. So anyways, so Lashley walks off and says, make sure nobody else stands in my way.
Yeah, it's a good point.
It is a great point.
You don't want this shit to happen? Then keep people out of my path.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had our main event. It was a triple threat match. Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Becky Lynch.
Great stuff.
Great match. Hot stuff right here. Good stuff.
Great stuff. So, I want to keep on saying Judgment Day instead of Damage Control. I don't know what my deal is today. So Damage Control ends up costing Becky this bout. So Becky hits a leg drop off the top while Nikki's looking for her finish. Becky covers Bliss, gets a 2 there. So Nikki and Becky end up on the apron. And Becky's looking for a Bexploder. Cross instead counters with a pile driver attempt. Instead, Becky hits her with a manhandle slam on the apron, and that's when she puts Nikki back in the ring, try to get the pin. Damage Control pull her out, and then power bomb her through the table. And while Nikki's still there selling the effects of the manhandle slam on the apron, Alexa hits her with Twisted Bliss to get the win. So it's going to be interesting to see if, especially with just 1 week time, you got to assume that Alexa's going in as Alexa is now, rather than whatever new iteration of Alexa is going to come around after she's influenced by Uncle Howdy.
It wants to happen because, like, even in the notes here, Alexa tried to assist her Abigail attempt. It's in the thumbnail too. She tried to assist her Abigail, didn't hit it. But I don't know. We were talking about this earlier, and I like the idea because they need to get a move on with Bray. They need to get a move on with that. Oh man, we're at 206 likes. I'm going to text Paul right now as I'm talking. So,
damn it.
So the thing that I'd love to see happen, and I don't even know how this would how this would be executed, but there, done. Everything's been sort of boiling up, right? It's been sort of percolating, and everybody's like, "Come on, let's just have this." I don't know how this would happen, but it'd be cool if there was some like big, exciting or inciting incident, rather, that like you just get it in one big shot, because like they've been teasing Alexa and they've been doing this Uncle Howdy stuff, and Bray's getting at something, but he needs to get to the damn point. And I don't know, like maybe a big themed episode between now and the Rumble, or maybe at the Rumble, where you get the thing that happens.
Like, I don't know. So I'll go back to the White Rabbit teases they were airing, leading up to Bray's return, and there was some allusions to Alexa in there.
There's also allusions that seem like Cross as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a Cross allusion. There is something that could be interpreted as a Judgment Day one as well.
Yeah. I guess just to kind of tie everything together, it would be interesting if they can go back and make, whether it's just, if the kind of general theme or idea for the story is Alexa is Alice and Bray is the White Rabbit leading her into not exactly Wonderland. It seems like a nightmare land where Uncle Howdy lives, Oh,
yeah, man.
Or Uncle Howdy being the White Rabbit leading Alexa down that path.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be like on the nose to, like overt references to Alice in Wonderland, but just some kind of general reference to that story.
Yeah.
Just to kind of tie it all together,
Yeah. I mean, I do think it'd be cool if, like, because when I'm talking about like a big moment, I'm like the big moment of it's what popped in my head. The Nexus, their debut. I was like a big, oh my God, shocking moment. Mm-hmm. Well, if Uncle Howdy is sort of orchestrating all this stuff, and Alexa, friggin' Bray, if they get Cross in on it, I don't know, some like big threat that could be terrifying. Even what if they rope Judgment Day into it? What if Judgment Day's part of it as well? As like a sub-faction within Uncle Howdy's like empire or whatever. And there's this big thing that's sort of infecting WWE. I don't know. It could be horrible. But also, like, it's been a while since we've seen something that's sort of like the Invasion storyline, which could have been really, really cool. But like, this is something different that like infects everything in WWE, all orchestrated by our number one guy, Uncle Howdy.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just hoping too much for so much Uncle Howdy.
I mean, if Uncle Howdy is ultimately the straw that stirs the drink, that'd be great.
It's like, what was it? That cheesy McMahon reveal. It was me, Austin. What do they call him? The higher power. The higher power.
Higher power. Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course they'd be faced with, well, how do we actually reveal who the higher power is?
Well, it's Uncle Howdy.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody would be disappointed if it was Uncle Howdy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, just keep that mask on.
Says, I'm reveling in what I am.
As long as it's not like, believe,
Oh, I know.
You got to keep that mask on. Oh, man.
Oh, on SmackDown, that was definitely Bray voicing Uncle Howdy.
Oh, you think so? I sort of felt that the whole time, but I mean, I get the feeling that Bo could probably do a pretty decent Bray impression as well.
I feel like it's seemingly, maybe I'm sure this is intentional. Like week after week, it's clear that it's Bray.
Oh, you think so? You think
Uncle
they're doing
Howdy.
that?
Yeah.
That could be. That could be. I mean, I think that's sort of the whole point, is that it's his inner demon or whatever. But the idea of Uncle Howdy running ropes against Bray Wyatt was just, man, that'd be amazing.
Oh, that'd be spectacular.
That'd be fantastic.
That'd be spectacular.
I wanted to
questions.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I wanted to do this first before we answer questions. We always ask people, if you're listening to this in the audio realm, leave us a rating, review, or a comment, man. And we got a bunch of really great reviews here. I just want to read a couple of them, give some shout outs to some friendos. Because these are all like 5-star reviews too. I'm going to try to find a 1-star one. It's never like in between, by the way. It's always like 1 or like none and then 5. So Craw Stall said, been listening for a few years, probably 5 or so at this point. My favorite podcast for wrestling by a mile. These guys are informative and entertaining. Thank you so much, Cronstall. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Rex Boy says, don't interrupt me. Love listening to you guys for all my wrestling news. I pop every time Steve does. Whoa. The impersonations, especially when Triple H calls in. Hold on a second. That is a gross misunderstanding. I have been clear about my paperwork. I forgot about this. I got a DMV
Can I suggest something?
thing.
Could I suggest something for today?
Yes, I'm open to suggestions and notes.
Okay,
go ahead.
For this, if you want to allay any fears that there's some subterfuge going on here about you voicing Triple H,
words.
Stay on camera while Triple H calls in. You can do your paperwork there.
There's only two. It doesn't technically.
We don't need to see a still of Triple H while he's calling in. We don't need to see
Larson, not to sway the subject here, but we just got a brand new member. This is a shoot. New member here on YouTube. His name, you saw it. His name is Big Horny Dude. Did Jim Ross, good old Jim Ross, just become a member here? Man, how did you know that? Big Horny Dude. That's right. That's me, Big Horny Dude.
Anyways, that's my suggestion. If it's not possible to do now, that's something to look forward to maybe on Friday. That way, then there we go. Clear as day. It's not you voicing Triple H. Clear as day.
I mean, I would think that my assertions, my own, all I have to say is it's not me.
It's
and
obvious
people take
based
that.
on that comment. It's people still don't believe based on your assertions. Because let's be fair, you've been known here on the show to bend the truth a little bit.
Whoa! Wow! In the words of the big boss Rick Ross, accusations, false accusations.
No, there's no false. How many months did you say that someone stole Big Red only for you to reveal that you were the one that took it?
I don't remember revealing that.
That
somebody
absolutely
stole
happened.
it. Nah. Accusations. Peter Lewins, Phoenix 24, Alfonso Valenzuela. Thank you so much for your new Patreon patronage. Thank you so much. On the Patreon, we have QA question threads that people can leave their questions for various things. First up, Blake Whitehouse. How would you book a Judgment Day face turn? You don't book it. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen. If it doesn't happen, then it's fine. They're still great.
It's like saying, how do you book Seth Rollins face turn? It just happens. They do great work, and they'll get over as like faces. The Yellow Flash. We always mention Bloodline turning on Sammy. How would you book Sammy turning on them? Mech suit. Like how there's like 5 of them, including the most dominant guy since Bruno. How is Sammy going to turn on them?
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
Mech suit.
Yeah, he calls up Bryan Danielson and asks about his flesh mech suit that he used. In We Book Raw. Yeah,
exactly. David Matushek. Do you think that more wrestling companies should use poker as a plot device?
No, that makes sense for JBL given the APA days. Outside of that very specific instance, no, it doesn't need to be a commonplace thing.
They need to bring back Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Alex Foster says, am I the only one who feels like Dom might turn face after his match against Ray at Mania? No. He can't. No. People hate him. It's great. It's amazing.
Yes. Mondo here says, if the rumors about Money in the Bank matches being done at Mania this year turn out to be true, do you think that could end up factoring into the main event, particularly if Sammy wins Money in the Bank on night 1? Probably not. I think if it's Roman versus The Rock, then they're going to have that match. They want the image of Reigns beating The Rock, holding up both those titles, unquestioned, head of the table at that juncture. I think they want that. They want that image. They want that moment. They want that story beat.
I feel like you're right about that. Yeah. I feel like you're right about that. Let's see here. Mondo says, Mountain Bike Jesus says, that's funny. I did not notice that.
I didn't notice it either. Yeah.
JBL made a short joke to Gargano and Chad Gable laughed along with it. That is funny. That is attention to detail right there. That's really good. Got a question from YouTube member Allison here. Is CM Punk still going to wrestle at AEW or come to WWE? Could WWE just buy out CM Punk's contract? I think the way it would work, Allison, is AEW would buy out CM Punk's contract, give him a bunch of money to go away because they still owe him money. They're like, here's the money. You don't have to be here anymore.
3.5 years left on his deal, I guess. And like the quibble, as has been reported or has been rumored, is the duration of a no-compete clause for Punk. How long he will have to sit on the sidelines before he can sign with another company to wrestle.
Yeah, and at that point, I'd say, in my own estimation, I'd say it's probably a 50-50 that he wrestles for WWE or just never does it again. I'd say 50-50.
I'd probably say it's more like 30-70 comes back to WWE.
30 he comes back, 70 he just fucks off.
Yeah.
A
lot of it depends on the duration of the non-compete. If like they say you can't, if they agree on like 2 years, he's going to be getting up there in years.
Mm-hmm.
Enforcer here with the super chat saying greetings. How's it going, Enforcer? Can't wait to see you this weekend, man.
Can't wait to see you this weekend, man. That's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so we took care of our questions. We took care of the podcast comments. Is there anything else I'm missing?
No, we can wrap up the show now.
That's right. Oh, you trying to get out of this. You got some splaining to do, Larson, to Triple H about this Byron Saxton situation. Because I can't believe you tried to get him fired. Anyways, go ahead and do this. Just want to get it over with, Larson. All right. I'm going to do this paperwork over here. I'm going to be off camera.
Please, Friday. Find a way to you don't have to say a word. You can mute your mic.
Okay,
be
but
on camera.
Here's the thing, though.
While Triple H calls it. Hold on, let me finish my piece before you interrupt. Don't interrupt me, Steve. Like I said, allay any fears that you're doing Triple H voice. Just be on camera during one of these segments. That's all I'm saying.
Here's the thing.
Carry on.
Number one, I know all you have to do is log into Zoom and have our fun little podcast. Over here at the Control Center, there's a lot that goes into this. It would take literal quantum science to figure out how to get me and Triple H and you all in the same place.
All you'd have to do is not throw up the frame of Triple H, the still of Triple H. Otherwise, nothing else would change.
It's part of the Zoom call.
No, it's not. You're doing that.
You don't know. You're not here in the Control Center. I got 15 different monitors here. You don't know.
No, you don't have 15. It might be 3. I know how this works. Again, bending the truth. Anyways, let's do this. Come on.
All right, here we go. Oh, man. W.S. Fletcher, member for 43 months now, and he says, don't interrupt me. All right, here we go.
Thank you, W.S. Fletcher.
Hi, hello, Paul here. Hello, how can I help you? This is
Triple H.
Don't interrupt I'm saying hello, and you're interrupting me already. Geez, yesterday you tried to get Byron Saxton fired. Luckily, calmer heads prevailed, and Byron, I didn't fire him. I wanted to. I was about to. In fact, for about 10 minutes, he was fired, but then I rehired him. Here's the thing. There's nothing Triple H likes better than a good return. I fired him, and then I had him return, and everybody's happier. Renegotiated his deal. Don't interrupt. Renegotiated his deal. Now he's getting paid exclusively in Beyblades. Work for Beyblades, and then that his whole salary now can go to the Beyblade deal.
Okay, that's good. I'm happy that Byron was not relieved of his duties, that he was not future endeavored. I'm happy.
I know you. I think you're lying right now. I find it funny that you tried to get the guy fired yesterday.
I didn't. It was a publicly available tweet. I mentioned. I had no idea that you didn't approve of that.
How am I supposed to know? Your voice cracking right now? Are you hitting puberty now? That's weird. I find it funny that you're hitting puberty at the age of 62. That's weird.
Well, everybody. I guess. Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about NXT.
What?
NXT. I know this is Sean's thing.
Oh my God. Hey, can I be honest with you? I feel like we have enough of a relationship I can level with you.
Okay.
NXT's kind of crap, isn't it? Now you have to think to yourself, is this a test? Am I testing you? Am I going to see what you say about my best friend's wrestling promotion? Or do you think I'm on the level and I'm confiding with you?
So here I'll be level with you, Triple H. Your best friend, Shawn Michaels, probably my favorite wrestler of all time.
Me too.
He's great. He's one of the best to ever do it.
Crap Booker, right?
No,
or,
I don't.
Or am I
kidding? I don't necessarily think crap Booker. I think it's a situation. I feel like in a situation in NXT where they're trying a lot of things.
Yeah.
Some things work.
It's been like a year. Oh my God.
Some things maybe don't work the first time, but they keep trying.
Yeah, I keep on telling him, like, Sean, here's what we got to do. Bring back DX. Suck it. Break it down. Suck it. King of Kings. All right, enough of that. So anyways, what's going on at NXT tonight? You watching it or what?
I'll watch it Wednesday.
How about this? You preview NXT for me.
Sure. This is news to you, maybe. I'm guessing. I don't know.
This is a big scoop. I have no idea what Sean's doing over there. I know he had half a DX over there last week. Didn't tell me about it.
Yeah. Did anybody tell Billy that was happening?
Who?
Billy Gunn.
Oh, daddy ass! I love that scissors. The only thing AEW does that I like because he's one of my best friends.
Well, that's good. That's
that Pisshead Company. What a pile of trash that is. They got a good lineup this week though, but no Pisshead Company. We're totally gonna get the Acclaimed. By the way, the only thing that's like it's like the Titanic over there because their demo's way down. You see, I got these numbers right here. The demo is way down, and so as the Titanic, the USS Tony Khan sinks. Because the iceberg Triple H already hit it. Guess who I'm going to pull up from and be like, hey, daddy ass, Caster, Bowens, come back here. Come back home, really. That's where they came. Bowens was in NXT. Caster was one of Bobby Lashley's sisters. So really, they're WWE in-home talent. So they were going to bring him back. We're going to bring him back to home, and then they're going to be huge.
Are you doing paperwork there too?
Yeah, all serious businessmen have paperwork. It's weird if you don't have a lot of paperwork always to do. Yes.
Interesting. How's your barking cat doing that we heard from last week?
She's sleeping.
Okay.
She's snoring right now. My barking cat is snoring.
What's your cat's name?
What?
What's your cat's name? I thought you had a couple of like giant mastiffs.
Her name is
what?
Jerry. It's Jerry. Jerry the barking cat. Yeah, she's great.
Interesting. Anyways, NXT. This is from WWE.com.
Yeah.
First thing here, Axiom, Von Wagner, and Andre Chase battled it out for final Iron Survivor Challenge spot.
Good Lord, what is Von Wagner still in my company? Oh my God. What is Sean doing over there? I'm going to rename him to Joe Blow.
Okay. Next, Indy Hartwell, Wendy Chu, and Fallon Henley compete for 5th and final Iron Survivor Challenge spot at Deadline.
I feel like Indy needs to be called up. I got to make some phone calls.
Yeah. Tony D'Angelo returns to action in NXT.
What is this? I introduced Sean to The Sopranos, and then the next week he's got this Tony D'Angelo guy.
Triple H, can you
tell
me what?
Right? Is that what they do? They got to do gabagoo.
I was going to ask you about your opinion on a recently debuting NXT talent. I'm talking about Hard Justice.
Oh my God. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. He's never going to make it to main roster. I don't know if Sean understands quite the nature of Hard Justice, but let me tell you, it is problematic. And that's all I've got for you today. No more Hard Justice. No more Triple H. I'm out. Bye, Beyblades.
How'd it go?
I mean, Byron's still in WWE, so I guess not. What are you doing over there?
I was finishing my paper. Finishing my paperwork.
Triple H was just doing that. He had paperwork today too.
Well, yeah.
I mentioned he's got a barking cat just like you.
Listen, dude. What's the cat's name?
He said Jerry.
Oh.
But he was hesitant.
Mine's name is Gypsy, which is
I know what your barking cat's name is, but he seemed like he was kind of trying to find a name that kind of sounded.
He's a very busy guy. He probably has a lot of paperwork like me. Very serious people have paperwork, Larson.
He said the exact same thing, Steve.
Yeah, great minds think
nearly
alike.
Verbatim.
Wow. Well, not surprising. Come on. Look, dude, he's my favorite wrestler for a long time. I've studied under the game. I read his book several times.
So, again, I'll say this. Next time on Friday, see if you can pull this off. It shouldn't be that hard.
Literally, I can't, and it is.
It's not.
It is.
You can, and it's not.
1,000% is. It 1,000,000% is.
1,000% easy. 1,000,000% easy. Totally can do this.
Horribly hard.
You can just get in Triple H's audio. It's with my audio. It's a desktop audio. God, it's another Zoom call. It coincides. It's right along my audio. You don't have to do anything.
Dude, I love you. I do. But like you trying to discuss technical things is like giving me a headache because you just have no idea what you're talking about.
It's because maybe something you got going on there would potentially be exposed.
No, there's no truth that's going to be exposed.
I think there's a lot of truth.
Your conspiracy. Look, listen, man. I know about your love for flat Earth theory, conspiracy theories.
See, don't. Speaking of false accusations, don't try to besmirch my good name because I'm trying to allay the fears of friendos who think that you're in on this Triple H thing.
Hey, you know what? If they think I'm Triple H, then just let them think that, and they'll enjoy the show even more. They'll be like, "Wow, Steve's great. He does Triple H impressions," but I don't. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show today. I'm sure we'll just keep on bickering off air. We won't have to. You guys don't have to deal with this stuff. Thanks for watching, everybody. We really, truly appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow for our AEW recap after Dynamite. So please join us for that on the Twitch, twitch.tv/Steven Larson, on the YouTube, youtube.com/Steven Larson. If you are listening to us in the audio realm, do us a huge favor. Leave us a rating, review, or a comment, preferably a 5-star review. And until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.